most artists, most visual artists, when they're writing a proposal for a residency or to get funding or whatever, to get in school, something like that, they're making a big mistake when they're trying to be creative, when they're trying to be original. And most visual artists actually try to do that when they're writing a proposal. And as a result, their proposal is original and it is creative, because guess what? They're creative people. But that is a stupid tactic when you're writing proposals. It's not smart to be creative and original when you're writing a proposal. Now, do I say that it doesn't work? Sure, it might work. The first grant that I ever won was at the age of 15 with a proposal I wrote, I think was 10 pages, something like that. And I definitely didn't know what I know now. And I definitely made those mistakes. I definitely tried to sound intellectual as that 15-year-old stupid kid. I definitely tried to sound creative and all of that stuff. But it's not the best way. Most definitely not the best way. And the best way when you're writing proposals is actually the opposite. Being boring and similar is the best way. I know it sounds strange, but that's the best way to write your proposals. So let me explain that to you so that you can make better proposals and win some grants and residencies and all of that stuff. And so let's talk about that for a moment. Why being boring and similar is a better tactic than being creative and original when you're writing your proposal. And let's first dive into the psychology of people. Psychology of you, me, of everybody, before we can understand the principle of why being boring and similar is so much better. People like themselves. People like themselves, and people like other people who are similar to themselves. That's just the way human nature works. That's how we evolved as human beings. We like people who are similar because that's just the way it is. When you look at, for example, Facebook, and there's a group picture posted of you and your friends, who's the first person that you're searching for? It's you yourself in that picture. Everybody does that, and it's a natural way our brain is wired to scan for people who are similar than us. And similarity just works. There's this beautiful saying that states, a true friendship is born when one person says to the other, hey man, whoa, I thought I was the only one. And that's when you make that connection, when you feel like, hey, I thought I was the only, I'm so similar to you, and bam, friendship is born. Similarity just works. It's one of the reasons why Facebook, when they're doing advertisement and all of that stuff, not too long from now, there will be people in those ads that look very similar to your friends, people you like, or to you yourself. And it's all algorithms, and it's all created to manipulate you into interacting with those ads and buying those products more. We know that. We know that those things work. And so here's one of the problems with creativity. When you're trying to be creative, you're gonna be different, fundamentally different than the people who are reviewing your proposal. The grantors that are sitting there, the people in the review panel, most of the times they are not artists. Most of the times they are not, like, they're just different people. And so you trying to be creative and original is literally trying to be as different as them as possible, and that's just not how it works. What you need to do is being similar to them in your proposal. You need to be similar. They need to recognize themselves in your writing, in your proposal. And so being boring and similar, not necessarily boring actually, but being similar to them is just a very powerful way of making sure that they like you, that they like your proposal, because they like themselves in it. And so instead of coming up with creative sentences and creative ways to present your work, what you should actually be doing is when you're researching all of those proposal possibilities like residencies, grants, all of that stuff, is scanning their websites, scanning the people of the review panel, and writing down what words they use often, what type of language they use, what they love, what they think about, what they just make that whole full analysis. And then when you know which words they use, which concepts that grab them, which like values they carry, use those same words, use those same values, use the same language as they use, not trying to be creative about your own language, but try to literally use the same language, because when they're reading that and they see that your language and your values and your reasons that are connected, you have to of course connect it to your art as well in a way that it makes sense, that it's not fake. Fake it till you make it doesn't work. You have to be real. But using those concepts and those words and those sentences that actually resonate with you in your proposal is going to be very, very powerful, because people in that review panel, they will notice, they will see the similarities between you and the principles of the foundation or the principles of the institution or the principles of whatever. And they will feel that similarity and they will feel as if you're a good fit. Why? Because they feel that you're similar to them. And so strangely enough, one of the biggest assets of artists, namely being creative and original and just that like amazing fucking personality, is actually one of your biggest weaknesses when you're writing a proposal. Because when you're writing a proposal, you should not be creative. If you're still creative when you're writing your proposal, then you didn't really do a good job when making the art. The art, that's where creativity should spark, not in your proposal. And if you're trying to be creative and intellectual in your proposal, guess what? What actually will happen is that you will come over as insecure. You're not going to come over as a creative dude, because you will come over as somebody who still needs to show how creative they are. Why? Because they're not really certain about the creativity of their own art. It's like when you're seducing a girl, for example. When you're seducing, let's say that's a good example. You're sitting in some party, you're talking with a girl for half an hour, somebody comes in, and it's a really hot guy, and or it's her ex, and the guy talks with you guys for like a minute and sounds like it's actually pretty cool, and he's like very social and all of that stuff, and then he walks away. What a lot of boys, but what a lot of guys will do is then make a negative comment about that guy. Like, hey, he's your ex, yeah, I understand that you broke up with him. He seems like a little bit of a douchebag, a little bit of an ego tripper, something like that, whatever they would say. And they think they're increasing their chances and their equity in that whatever interaction by breaking down the equity of the other person. But what actually is happening is that they're showing how insecure they are, and that they feel the need to break that other person down because their own insecurity. They feel attacked by that guy who comes in. And that's just not smart. The girls know that. They know that you're a little bit offended, and not offended, but a little bit going into defense mode. Why? Because you're insecure. And so the same with grant writing. When you're writing grants or proposals for a residency or school or whatever, and you're trying to be creative in that moment, you're gonna come over as insecure. What you should be doing is being boring and similar to the grantors and the people in the panel review, or the review panel. So yeah, hope this helps. Enjoy your day. Ciao, ciao.